Understanding the determinants of interpersonal behavior. Self concept. What am I? Mankind is unique because only a human being has the capacity of thinking about high himself, and this attitude comprises the self and self concept. The self concept has three aspects: belief, feelings, and behaviors. The belief component represents the content of the self. This is illustrated by such thoughts as I am intelligent, sociable, sincere, overweight, etc. The feeling component about one's self is reflected is in feeling of self-worth, or in general as I am okay, I am not okay. Finally, the behavioral component is the tendency to act towards one's self in a deprecating, self-enhancing manner. Your self concept is a relationship of all your past experiences with other persons and includes characteristics with distinguish you from others. Once your self concept is established and specific patterns of behavior are adopted, it tends to resist change. This resistance to change also gives you a degree of stability that prevents you from regarding yourself as worthless at one moment and worthy at the next. As your activity are organized and integrated in relations to your self concept, you can expect to develop a relatively consistent lifestyle. Also, you achieve a stable interpersonal environment by maintaining a consistent relationship between your self concept and your beliefs about how others behave and feel towards you with regards to your self concept. In order to maintain your interpersonal environment and to maximize congruence or harmony, you, like any other individual, actively use certain mechanisms to stabilize interactions, and some of them are: first, misperception. When the actual expectations of others are not congruent with your self concept or behavior, you may simply misperceive how others see you. Second, selective interactions. You may choose to interact with those persons with whom you can most readily establish a congruent state. Third is selective evaluation of the other person. You maximize congruency by favorably evaluating those who behave congruently towards you and devaluate those who do not. Fourth is selective evaluation of self. You maximize congruency by altering the values places on various aspects of your self concept so that the aspects that are in agreement with the perception of your own behavior and those of others are more most likely evaluated. Fifth, response evocation. You intentionally or unintentionally behave in a way that results in others' behavior towards you in a congruent fashion. A person in interactions control the cues provided to others to ensure that he or she will be categorized in certain ways and not in any unexpected way. The mechanism we discussed above are some of the means used by any person to protect one's self-concept and maintain an interpersonal environment. Interpersonal needs. What do you want from me? People need people, but not what? People needs people, but for what? Skulls 1966 maintains that there are three interpersonal needs: inclusion, control, and affection that cause one. To establish and maintain relations with others, these needs are defined as follows. First, inclusion, the need for interaction and association. Second, control, the needs for control and power. Third, affection, the needs for love and affection. Individuals differ, however, in the strength of their interpersonal needs. For each interpersonal needs, there are two behavioral aspects expressed and wanted. Expressed behavior is the behavior that we initiate towards others, and wanted behavior is the behavior we want or prefer from others towards us. Compatibility is a properly of a relationship between two or more persons that leads to a mutual satisfaction of interpersonal needs and harmonious coexistence. If what is wanted and what is expressed is equal for both interacting persons, mutual needs are satisfied. For example, those who wish to dominate and control activities work well with those who wanted to be controlled or directed. However, if both parties want to dominate, some degree of conflict may be expected. When you compare these interpersonal needs with self concept, you will find that the need for inclusion is to feel that the self is significant and worthwhile. For control, the needs is to feel one's self as a competent and responsible person. For affection, the needs is to feel that self is a lovable person. Interpersonal orientations, how do you influence me? Individuals vary greatly in how they relate to and influence others. These three basic types of persons have been identified: the tough bearer, the friendly helper, and the objective thinker. These three styles and associated behavior are outlined in chart 1. The interpersonal orientations are shown in terms of extremes, but they are typically descriptions of familiar behavior. Many people are more oriented to one style than another and feel more comfortable with the associated behavior. While one's style is related to his or her personal needs and self control, a style can be overdone and distorted. Each style reflects behavior that, in varying degrees, ineffective ineffective in some situations. The tough battler would refer better to others if he or she were more sensitive to others, could accept his or her inevitable dependence on others, and recognize that some situations will not yield to pressure. The friendly helper would be more satisfied if he or she could stand for his or her own interest and face conflict. Likewise, the objective thinker could relate to others more effectively if he or she were more aware and accepting of his or her own feelings and those of others. One does not have to assume that his or her behavior is fixed or impossible to control. Interpersonal attractions. Why do we like each other? You are not passive in your interpersonal interactions with others but seek to structure these relationships. You will choose to interact with others with whom you can most readily establish a harmonious relationship. For example, if you regard yourself as very intelligent, you will interact with others who respect your intelligence or allow you to use it. By choosing such persons as friends, an important and durable source of harmonious interactions is created. So remember, people interact more frequently with those who are perceived as confirming their concept to the greatest extent. The greater the importance and common consequences of an object for two people, the greater the attraction between both person and an object may refer to any focus of perception, including physical objects, symbols, the other person's self concept, or to one's own self concept. The attractions of A towards B is affected by similarly between A's attitude towards X and his or her perception of B's attitude towards X. Moreover, A's own attitude towards X is and his own her perceptions of B's attitude are influenced by the degree of which he or she is attracted to B. For example, assume that A, who is attracted to B, discovered a difference between A's and B's attitude towards their common supervisor X. Assume that A likes the supervisors but B does not and holds any unfavorable views about him. Since A is attracted to B, even while holding divergent views, a strain is created but must be resolved. Return to a state of balance may take several forms. First is a shift in A's perception of B's attitude may occur. A may decide that he or she was mistaken in attribute to B and negative attitude towards the superior. If B actually does have a negative attitude, this would be misperception. Second, A might change his or her own attitude in the direction of B and develop a negative attitude towards the supervisor X. Third, A might try to conceive B or B is mistaken about the supervisor. If B is attracted to A and is also experiencing a strain, B might be susceptible to such persuasion. Fourth, A might restore balance to the relationships by reducing his or her attraction towards B. This action indicates how people seek to validate their attitudes by seeking agreement with others' consensual validation. When a group begins to interact and acquire information of others' views and attitudes, bonds of attraction form most strongly between those who hold similar views towards things that are important and relevant to both. Also, a person likes others who have the same feeling towards him or her as that person has towards himself or herself. This reinforces one's self concept and facilitates interpersonal relations.